slide. That's when kids lose everything they learned throughout the year over that long summer break. Now, lots of teachers say they spend the first month of school just reteaching what they taught the last month of school the year before. Joining me now to talk about the summer slide is Katie Brackenridge. Katie is a senior director at the Partnership for Children and Youth. And Katie, that seems like a huge waste of the teacher's time to have to reteach what the kids already learned.
Yeah, there's a lot of information about what happens to kids in the summer. Tons of research about kids losing learning over the summer. And when you dig a little deeper into that research, what you realize is it's not all kids losing learning. Middle-income kids tend to stay at about the same level or even advance a little bit in the summer. But what we see is kids from communities where there aren't as many resources tend to lose learning up to 2 or 3 months every summer, and that accumulates. So by the time they leave 5th grade, they may be as much as 2 or 3 years behind their better off peers.
And really, those are the kids that need it the most, who need to keep being stimulated and try to move forward in their education.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And, you know, our school system spends so much time and energy thinking about the achievement gap, and yet at the same time that all this research is coming out, summer school has been decimated with the budget crises. So we're really in a situation right now where we need to rebuild those positive experiences for kids in the summer so that we can avoid that really devastating summer learning loss.
Now, it's really interesting because a lot of countries will go year-round when it comes to school, but we have this huge long break, and that's just a traditional thing that we've done the way it was done 100 years ago.
Right, that's what I
Doesn't really serve a purpose, it seems, like having that summer, although kids love having that summer break.
Right.
But there's a more significant impact of them falling behind, like you said, economically, socially, for a lot of kids.
Right. And I think it's important to recognize that a summer break isn't great for every kid. So kids whose families are having, for example, two parents having jobs and they don't have enough money to pay for camps and things like that, they're stuck at home. So they're watching a ton of TV and eating, you know, not so good for you food. And it's really devastating not only for their learning, but also for their health. The weight gain over the summer is really devastating for kids.
Okay, you talked about money, because I think money is a huge component of this. You'll see kids now that some kids' summers are entirely packed with summer camps. And it used to be things like Girl Scout camps and horseback riding camps. But now we're seeing the proliferation of all these tech camps, science camp, forensic camp, you know, and so kids that are well off can move forward. I mean, there's like a building your own app camp that I just saw over at Stanford, right? So it seems like there is such a difference between the have and have-nots when it comes to these kind of camps. So if you don't have a lot of money, what resources do you have to go find something to keep your kids mentally stimulated?
Well, that's why I'm excited to talk about the Summer Matters campaign, which is this statewide collaboration of organizations working to expand and improve summer learning across the state. And I'm making that distinction of summer learning versus summer school. So we're not talking about that kind of traditional summer remediation where it's kind of drill and kill type teaching, but really looking at some of those kinds of engaging activities that you were just referencing and making those available to kids from all different kinds of backgrounds. So there are 12 communities across the state of California who have piloted this kind of programming. They're doing things like exploring literature, but tying it to a whole set of activities that dig more deeply into the character and the story. So kids leave that summer not just having read more, but being more excited about reading. And we just released a report that's showing that that type of programming is having a real impact on kids' academic achievement. So their reading and vocabulary is at a higher grade level as a result of being part of these fun programs. But they're also reporting stronger work habits, greater confidence in their reading ability, and social skill development. So it's all these things that we feel are really important are actually happening in these places across the state.
All right, so if I don't have access to that, but I'm a parent at home and I don't really have a gazillion dollars to spend on all these camps, what resources can I look for to say, okay, this is what I'm going to set up in my house to keep my kids stimulated?
Right. Well, the first thing I would say is look around, because there are definitely resources available that you could access. You could look, talk to your school district, find out if they're doing some kind of interesting, innovative programming that feels exciting for your kids. Look at your libraries and your rec and park departments. Look at local community-based organizations like the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA. While there are fees, a lot of times they have sliding scale fees, so they'll only charge you what you can afford to pay.
And there's all those free days that you can go to a museum on the free day, go to the zoo on a free day. You really just want stuff that's going to keep them learning. You could go through the zoo and talk about animals, talk about their habitat, all these kind of things, right?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be sit at home and do this workbook. In fact, it shouldn't be. It should really be about interacting with your kids, talking a lot, getting them engaged with other groups of people, learning and seeing new things that they wouldn't necessarily have time to see during the school year. All of those things are really important for summer learning loss.
Yeah, I told you before that my kids do that summer reading program through the Pleasanton Library, and they love it because they get a reward system, they learn about all these different things, then they go back to the library and they get to discuss in these reading groups, and they absolutely feel excited about doing all that reading in the summer.
And most communities have that summer reading program. It's it's actually a national initiative, but it's all across the state. So it's a really great resource people should be tapping into.
So our plan is for the summer, when the kids go back this year, everybody is ready to go and the teachers won't have to do as much remediation.
Which I think is a win-win for everybody.
That's great. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here with us. We'll be right back.